I think Iman will do a good job writing this comic book. You're watching Chillmonger. It's Felicity, Poobell, Nerd Mafia, Mike from Rogue Comics, and Trinity from Sega Street Marvel. Iman Vellani, the actress who plays Ms. Marvel, is now going to be co-writing the comic book. That's right, she's co-writing the comic book, but basically it's her ideas, and I guess someone else is going to be putting the script pen to paper.
God, I hope so.
They're not even getting the right person. Jim Zub was doing that for Dan Slott back in the Iron Man days, remember? And I don't remember exactly why Dan Slott couldn't be doing just the full-on writing. Do you remember what the reason was, Mike? We talked about it once. Was it like a personal life matter that was private? We don't know.
I think it was because he also has Christos Gage doing stuff like that too, where he comes in and helps out. In fact, I think somebody got him. Somebody called him on it.
So that's two people that would have been better off to be co-writing with Iman Vellani. Two veterans in the industry who are respected and who have been doing books for years, right? They get this, what are we going to call him? A diversity hire? Because I would. This Sabir Perzada writer who just...
Well, I guess because they figure he did the show, so, Did
you read the Dark Web tie-ins with Ms. Marvel? He did those.
I didn't. I didn't read any of the Dark Web stuff.
Although it was like a talking masjid, and it was complaining about all the Muslims who attend, and had all these like inner grievances, and I was like,
Dark Web?
Yeah, during Dark Web, it had nothing to really do with Dark Web, honestly.
Really?
It was just it was 2 issues of Ms. Marvel. It just happened to happen during Dark Web, but it was
because
bizarre.
She was in Amazing Spider-Man, I guess, right?
She was, yeah, and her involvement was, I think she was transported to Belasco, what's it called? Not Hell, but
Limbo.
Mm-hmm. And then she was only there for like the cliffhanger of issue 1, and then she returned by page 2 of the second issue. That's the guy who's co-writing with her. I think it's really just her ideas that she's throwing out there. Hey, it would be cool if this happens. I don't know what the plot of the show is, of the book will be. It could be featuring secondary mutations, and that's how she'll be able to get the hard light. They could explain as, yo, listen, you are a polymorph who's been changing her body, adjusting so much that now, the moment before you died, you actually showed up on Cerebro as a mutant. So we know we had to resurrect you because you just mutated so much. Now you're a mutant. Like, they could really put some thought into it. I don't know how hardcore of a fan. I know how hardcore of a fan she is. I don't know how good of a writer she'll end up being because of the rookie nature of her, right?
Well, see, but in theory, that's why you have the quote unquote professional writer that's there.
Who's not a professional.
But we don't know exactly. See, I trust her more than I trust him, at least as far as getting comic book stuff correct. I mean, in fact, in the interview thing, he said that she knew more than he did, and I'm like, that's not a good thing, bro.
He also said, and that's saying much. He said some line like that right afterwards. I think he realized what he just told us all.
Mm-hmm. So that concerns me, and I hope, God forbid, if this doesn't turn out right, I hope she doesn't get the heat, because he's out of the two, that's his field, so he should know how to take her ideas and her story and make it workable in something, in theory, and make it good. So if it doesn't come out right, I'm blaming him instead of her,
and not the editors.
Well, I mean, no, they should be blamed. Period, all the time, 24/7.
The editors.
They've got editors at Marvel.
They do. Nick Lowe recently, just yesterday, I saw this tweet where the writer for Jed McKay was writing a script, and then in red you can see that Nick Lowe says, "Sorry, man, at the risk of breaking your heart, Jed, that squid, he died in Amazing Spider-Man's Hunted storyline. So just maybe replace him with 8-Ball or Killer Strike." For some reason, the writer Jed McKay, who works on Marvel Comics, wanted to not promote, but publish at least, and show an editor actually editing, right? I know it makes you look bad for not reading the comics, and it's kind of embarrassing because you should have been reading Amazing Spider-Man's Hunted event. I did. I own it. But editors edit. So Jordan D. White and... yeah, editors edit, Trinity. They do. It happens. We just don't see it. How many of those...
I'll give him credit. I'll give him a little credit there, because Jed McKay should only be writing Squirrel Girl at best.
Ouch. Not a fan of the Jed McKay Moon Knights?
No. Not really a big fan of Jed McKay at all.
I can't get into his writing because I can't get past the art. The art is too jaggedy. It's too point. Everything is like, I can't describe it, but the art it's not good. It's not good.
Comic Boom, he says, and by the way, this is a channel you guys should be checking out. Yeah, let's have actors tell writers what to write. Just don't pay the actors then. Ideas are like a-holes. Everybody has one. I think they killed her to reintroduce her as a mutant. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Everybody knew that.
Everybody laughed about it too.
Yeah.
It was a joke. Even this entire book that we had with the death of her,
Mhm.
it was a complete joke. I couldn't be emotionally invested in these comic book panels. Oh my god, look, Red Dagger came out of nowhere and he's mourning her. Wow, so sad. That didn't matter.
Okay, hold on, Shell. You know that brings up a good because I mentioned that last night too. That cover there was by Carrie Andrews, the one that you held up. Did you happen to get the Adrian Alfano cover?
I didn't know he did a cover. No.
He did a cover, yes, it was C. And if you look at it, it looks like it was poorly photoshopped. So this is my mission to you, being a fellow Canadian, because he's also Canadian. I am questing you to find him and either tie him down and make him, because I said last night on my stream that you always mention how if Marvel wanted to put some of their weight behind these quote unquote diversity things, they would actually put good, like, you know, like Hickman, Aaron, you know, the kind of people that actually sell books, you know, instead of having new people. And I partly agree with that, but I feel that instead of Carlos Gomez or whoever the other person is, like, they would have had Adrian come back and draw this 4-issue miniseries. So what I need you to do is I need you to find him, because I know Canadians know everybody up there, and you need to tell him that he needs to start drawing books again. Okay, because this poorly, whatever, like, if you look at the cover, it's either there was more to this cover, or whoever is the editor, you know, in quotes, editor, that was there was like, yeah, we got to black out whatever was, because it looks very poorly photoshopped. And I want him to do more stuff. So you need to find him. And if you don't, I guess I'm just going to have to
I want to find the cover.
Being on the panel and be unsubscribed from this channel, because this has been too long. I think the last book he did was probably Runaways, maybe, or maybe even Ms. Marvel. He hasn't done anything really since. Like, but look at it. Look at it. Like, there was more. There had to be. Like, look at her back and the way, like her hair, and like that's
somebody's behind her.
You know, something. There's something that just doesn't look right. That doesn't look right.
Yeah, it doesn't look right.
But he also needs to start doing interiors. So you need to get on that and find out what's wrong with your fellow countrymen, please.
Will do. I also mentioned not Zeb Wells, but I also mentioned Jim Zub. Okay, he's a fellow countryman. They probably could have linked up all three of them and co-written this comic book. I want to throw it now to Nerd Mafia. Does Iman Vellani, being the writer of this comic, entice you in any way? What did it mean to you when you heard this news?
Oh, that's cool.
I guess you're not purchasing a $4 comic for this mini series. No,
not really a giant fan of it.
And what about you, Felicity? Is this like
Wait, by her, do you mean Ms. Marvel or the actress?
The character. So I'm not. It's not like my biggest interest, I guess.
See, but I agree with you. But the thing that sells it for me is knowing how big of a comic book head that Iman is, and I think she can do, like, you want people, like everybody says, oh, we need people in the industry that are representative of comic books, that know comic books, and she does. So I'm giving that there's an extra added, like that would be like
Donald Glover, Miles Morales.
I think if anything, I'm most intrigued by the fact, like, what they're doing to kind of change her into a mutant, basically. Well, so, I mean, maybe I'd be like a late adopter if I hear some things. I'll probably go check it out, but I'm not like terribly.
You'll have to wait to check it out. So the actress not writing is not an appealing thing enough for you to buy it. All right. Yeah. That's unfortunate. I hoped that it would be a big enough reason. I think that it is something, though, marketing wise, it is some sort of special novelty to this comic. And she doesn't have social media, but people who follow the Ms. Marvel account can definitely be, you know, she can use that as her social media. She can pretend that she's, that's her account. And I think she can promote it.
Let's flip that, right? Somebody in the chat said, I think Donald Glover should write a Miles Morales comic. Yeah. If that happened, I might be all in, because I'm more of a fan of that character. You know what I'm saying? Like,
all right.
I'm just not like that big a fan of the character, so it's not really a big thing.
Robert Downey writing Iron Man, we'd all be for that?
That'd be interesting to me, yeah.
No? Oh. Tom Holland, Spider-Man, we'd all be for that?
Probably
See,
not.
no, but you're losing something though.
You
We
don't
don't
know
know.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, we don't know whether they're comic book fans or not. That's the difference with her. We know, and we've heard her call Kevin Feige out on his like stupidity with certain things. So for somebody to do that, like that's one of us. That's not like, you know, oh, yeah, no, like Donald Glover. I saw somebody, Donald Glover, like, does he like comic books? I mean, he was allegedly the inspiration for Miles Morales, depending on who you talk to. But like, that doesn't mean he likes comic. Like, why would, you know, that to me is more of one of those vanity things, you know, when you get an actor or a musician or a Pulitzer Prize winner who can't write Captain America or Black Panther. When you do those things, that's the kind of thing you're doing, you know?
You're probably right on all those other people, but with Donald Glover, I'd say that guy is so gifted. He could probably figure out whatever he wants to do. So
There's just something. When you got talent, it translates to everywhere. Kobe Bryant won an Oscar award. He's a talented guy. It works. There's Bo Jackson, who played football and baseball at the same time. I'm sure Allen Iverson, I think he got a scholarship to play in the NFL, one of the other sports. It's just a thing. When you're good, you're just good. Talents. It's a thing. Not everyone has it. And some people write and some people. I was going to take a shot at the union. Not everyone in that union right now who's on strike is actually talented. So, you know, look. Felicity, I didn't ask you yet. Iman Vellani, she's an actress. She plays Ms. Marvel. She's got a little bit of like, more than a little bit actually, but a lot into the character, dug in. Now she's going to be writing the comic book. Are you even interested in buying issue number 1?
I am not. I do like this actress, Iman Vellani. She seems like a great ambassador for the MCU, and they definitely need one right now. Was not a great fan of her character or the show. I wish her every success. But I think when she gives the interview and says that basically it's going to be like a fan fiction, I think that turns a lot of people off. You know, when you say stuff like that, because it doesn't have a great fan fiction. Basically, has a stigma attached to it. So you know, her coming out and saying that, I think that hurts the product. But I kind of question, you know, the yeah, she's a comic fan. That's great, but you know, nobody watched the show. It's the least watched show of the MCU shows. So I'm not sure how much attraction, you know, fans are going to have for this project.
That's a point. However, more people watched this show than go to the comic shop on a Wednesday. So out of the hundreds of thousands who did watch it, now let me ask you, how much of that hundreds, like how many thousands will be translated into comic book purchasers for the first time? Even Felicity, like, don't you think like a couple, maybe 10K people who know Iman Vellani from the Ms. Marvel show will be like, oh, there's a comic by her too? Let me check that out. Don't you think so? 10K, 20K?
I just don't see it. I mean, we just have the death thing happen, and isn't that a thing that always happens in comics where the character dies and then they do their reset? I just don't know. I look, if she makes a success out of this, great for her. There's just no interest for me, and I fail to see how, based on what we've seen so far, there's going to be interest from a whole lot of other people.
All because of the fan fiction line?
No, not just because of that. You know, I don't see it personally. They'd have to show me. You know, and I could see myself maybe at some point buying it. Maybe if I could get an autograph on it, you know, from her. But that's
how
about
she'll
it.
sell it. Oh, come! I'm gonna be in Chicago, autographed version. I'll be in New York. Yeah, that's how you do it.
See, I
Maybe.
think
But
there's
wait, this fan fiction thing. I know there's partly like there's certain fandoms where they do things such as, you know, put Kirk and Spock together and stuff like that. I mean, but
Hermione and Ron.
in essence, though,
Harry
when
and
it like if she's a fan, then she would be familiar with the character and what the character has gone through and who the character is, as opposed to being one of those quote unquote fans that try to put their beliefs and their, you know, ideals into the character when it doesn't fit. So with her, I would think the fan thing would be a more better, because she would be a fan of the character and know the characteristics and how the character should act and what the character should do, as opposed to the other ones that use them as, avatars for their beliefs.
Right.
And this is not going to be a canon comic, right? This is basically, for
canon.
her
It is.
to be involved. Is
No,
it?
It is. She reaffirms like we're not going to retcon the past. She acts like this is a canon comic. It's the story of Kamala being alive again, and now she's a mutant. It's called Ms. Marvel: The New Mutants. I know. If it wasn't canon,
so the death thing in canon would have happened then? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah. We'll just see
okay.
Yeah, and that's crazy that she's getting that much of like this actress, this new person is getting that much pull. That's enticing though. Or it could be terrible and it could be a mistake that they should never do again. We'll see.
Hey, you know what? This is an industry that continues to employ Rob Liefeld and Brian Michael Bendis, so anything is possible.
I agree with 50% of that statement. Yeah, most of these comic book products rarely get people to read comics, honestly. They don't, because they don't promote properly either. And then it says Marvel and DC collectively need to start promoting comics along with films. Use it. It's not hard. Like the first 30 seconds of every Marvel movie has all these comic pages and then they become Marvel, right? Well, now it's movie scenes. I'm just saying, you put right beside Marvel Studios the comic book where this came from. Just put that there based off of this comic. And we're like, okay, it's called Winter Soldier. It's Captain America. I got to read those issues. That may translate to comic sales there. It's not difficult to promote. And it takes time out of your movie anyways to do those long intros. Use the time productively. That's all. Kamala Khan or Iman Vellani writing Kamala Khan is a tactic I can get behind. I can support it. It's unique. It's out of the box. It's something fresh and I can be behind it. Even though I still have my philosophy of get Donny Cates, like Mike was saying earlier, get Jonathan Hickman, Al
Donny
Ewing.
Cates ain't writing anything.
He isn't because of his situation, right? And I don't even know what a situation is. But somebody of that profile should be writing the comic, and then you could be telling all of the comic book regulars to go read Ms. Marvel. This Iman Vellani hiring, is not for the regulars. This is for the outside people who may have never read a comic in their lives and been like, okay, let me get back into Kamala Khan. Let me get into Kamala Khan in the comic version. That's what this is for. And at least I'll say that's a net positive overall, that this is unique and it's, and we haven't even seen it fail yet. So they're not wrong. Even if it fails, the fact that they're trying this out is a plus. Trinity, can you at least give them that?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I'm not really a big fan of Ms. Marvel, the character in the comics or anything. I've read a little bit of her, but I think Iman Vellani coming in to write this, I mean, obviously, like Mike was saying, she's a fan. Her coming in to do that is probably a good thing, knowing that she does know this character. She kind of got her job because she does like this character and knows about this character. Surprised Nate Moore allowed her to be hired, but regardless,
you deserved that.
I think it's a good thing because I mean, just like we were saying earlier, I mean, she has a charisma. She brings something not only to this character on the like in the show and everything. She has an air about her. She has a charisma where I'm like, you know what, I like this. I like this girl, and I want to see more of what she has to offer, be it interacting or even if she's going to be doing this comic book. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of the character, but when this book comes out, I'll check it out because. Yeah, I mean, even like Felicity was saying, I think she's a good ambassador for Marvel, the MCU. So, she was a fan of the comics, so why not?
Is it on your pull list? You said you'll check it out, but is that like whatever, it's on the shelves, or are you telling your LCS, hey, pre-order this in 2 months, I want it?
Oh, they'll have it ordered anyway. But yeah, I'll be getting it.
No, you didn't answer which one. Will you pre-order it, or will you get it off the shelves?
If there's a cool cover.
That's an answer.
Pre-order it.
That's an answer. Nerd Mafia, the question I gave to Trinity was just that. Is this a sick promotional tactic that's out of the box, unique, and lovely?
So I think it kind of plays into the broad idea of just having Ms. Marvel come into the MCU too, right? Like Felicity mentioned earlier that like it was the lowest rated show. That can still work, especially if you're bringing in a new segmentation of the population that might not be watching the show, any Marvel show at all. It could be the lowest rated show, but all those people, like kind of going into what you were saying before, all those people coming in that might not have before, it's going to boost your brand in general if you actually finally build a team and bring all these segments together, which I'm not seeing them do yet. So, I mean, you keep kind of like building with her and keeping those people in the game. So maybe that's part of it too, by getting some of those people that like her to read the comics too and keep following Miss Marvel. And I'm sure they will when they see the Marvels come out too, because they've seen her in the commercial and made sure of that. But my biggest issue with the MCU, and I might be getting off track with your question here too, it's just like I see it as the first 10 years, we knew the team they were establishing. And
the powers that be are not forward thinking enough to reach this conclusion. You would think it would be built into the DNA of the superhero movie marketing. You must market your IP. Facts. Market properly too, effectively. If you have something towards young people, it's called TikTok and they're all on it.
I think she as a person is definitely a positive. But based on everything we've seen, the actual evidence, about the character and the show that she was on, I guess it remains to be seen what's going to happen with this movie, The Marvels, how, she's going to be taken in that. But I just don't see how this goes gangbusters. I get being aspirational, but the evidence is not pointing me in the direction that's going to be successful.
Damn. There's no evidence. There's no evidence that proves comic books will be better off when the movie stars are involved with them. There's just not. CM Punk did a couple of issues of a comic book, and that's a pro wrestler, if you guys who don't know, and it wasn't that much of a hit, right? And he's got more followers than Iman Vellani. So maybe, but he's
I'm sorry I burst your bubble there.
You did burst the bubble. You gave me realistic expectations.
I mean, maybe is it possible we're looking at this the wrong way though too? Like maybe this isn't some big marketing ploy. Maybe Iman Vellani is actually really interested in this. And he's had talks with Kevin Feige on the side. I know he's basically in charge of the comics now too, right? Overall, maybe this is something she really wanted to pursue, and natural way to get into it is like, hey, why don't you take on your characters that you know? So,
like it's a favor, like it's a favor from a friend, and it just so happens to be marketable.
Exactly.
Yeah, I need to get in touch with Kevin Feige, become friends with him. Kevin, I want to write Black Panther. All right. So if you watch the Chillmonger YouTube channel, definitely hook me up with that job. That's that. Like, comment, subscribe. And Felicity Poobell's got a channel. Nerd Mafia, Mike from Rogue Comics, Second Street Marvel.